everyone! Welcome back to the channel. It is a fantastic day to dive deep into the absolute madness happening in Genoa City right now. Grab a huge cup of coffee, or maybe something a little stronger because we have an insane amount of drama to unpack today. The writers are absolutely losing their minds this week, and I am entirely here for it. Let's jump right into the chaos. I cannot believe they are actually going there with Diane. I mean, I am sitting here staring at my screen late at night, typing so fast my keyboard might literally break, because the absolute sheer audacity of this storyline is blowing my mind. We need to talk about Diane Jenkins Abbott and what she is about to do to survive this absolute nightmare with Dr. Lawrence Markham. But wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me just take a breath and back up for a second because my brain is spinning in a million different directions right now and I need to get this out of my system. So Jack Abbott is currently playing the most dangerous, disgusting game of his entire life by fake romancing Patty Williams. Yes, Patty Williams. The woman who literally drugged him, held him hostage on a yacht, and ruined his life. And Jack is just playing along. He is moving her into the Abbott mansion, kicking Tracy and Callout, and acting like he is ready to hop into bed with her just to get information on Diane's whereabouts. I know some people are loving this dark, twisted sacrifice Jack is making to save his wife, but personally, I am screaming at my television. Jack, what are you doing? Because Jack is busy playing Patty's twisted little groom, Diane is completely on her own. She is locked in this creepy house with bars on the windows, dealing with a doctor who is clearly a total psychopath. And that brings me to Diane's brilliant, twisted, completely unhinged new survival strategy. Because Diane is not just going to sit there and be a helpless victim. Remember who we are dealing with here. This is the woman who faked her own murder in a park in 2011. She used a literal morgue body, teamed up with Deacon Sharp, framed Nikki Newman, and let Kyle mourn her for a decade. Diane is a survivor. She is a chameleon. So when she realizes that fighting Dr. Markham isn't working, especially after he threatens her with other methods to feed her and break down her mental wall, she pivots. She completely changes her strategy in the blink of an eye. I was watching the June 17th episode, and when Diane suddenly faked that psychological breakthrough, I actually gasped out loud. She changes her clothes, puts on a fake smile, and starts flattering Dr. Markham. She tells him how amazing his care is, how much progress she is making, and how clinical environments just give her panic attacks. She begs to stay at his private house instead of going to some remote clinic he keeps threatening her with. And I mean, it is so incredibly obvious what she is doing. She knows that if he moves her to a real clinic, she might end up in a padded cell forever, or worse, buried in a hole somewhere where Jack will never find her. By staying in his house, she has a fighting chance to find an exit, steal a phone, or manipulate him into letting his guard down. But here's where my mind completely explodes with the possibilities. Am I the only one who thinks Diane is going to fully seduce Dr. Markham? I mean, think about it. She is buttering him up, stroking his ego, playing the vulnerable but grateful patient who just needs a strong man to guide her. Markham is clearly an unethical creep who does not care about medical boundaries. He is holding a woman hostage for money. He is not going to care about the Hippocratic oath if his beautiful patient starts throwing herself at him. Diane knows that men are weak, especially arrogant men who think they are the smartest person in the entire room. She is going to use her sexuality, her charm, and her manipulative genius to wrap this guy around her little finger. Wait, okay, back to the point, because there is a massive fan theory floating around the forums right now that makes this entire seduction plot a million times crazier. What if Dr. Lawrence Markham is actually Martin Lawrence in disguise? Yes, think about it. We know Martin is a complete psychological terrorist. We know he loves trapping women. Just look at what he did to Sharon and Phyllis, and how he manipulated Tracy by pretending to be his twin brother, Alan. And what did Diane find on the bookshelf in Markham's house? Books written by Dr. Alan Lawrence. That is not a coincidence. The Y&R writers do not just drop props like that for no reason. They are planting seeds. If Markham is actually Martin wearing a hyper-realistic mask or having undergone plastic surgery, it makes perfect sense. I mean, Patty Williams is the one funding this whole operation, right? And Patty has a history of plastic surgery identity theft. Remember when Patty had her face surgically altered to look exactly like Dr. Emily Peterson? It was one of the wildest storylines in Y&R history. It completely tracks that Patty would find Martin, fund a facial reconstruction or disguise for him, and set him up as Dr. Markham to hold Diane hostage. Patty gets Diane out of the way so she can have Jack, and Martin gets a new playground to torture a prominent Genoa City woman. If this theory is true, Diane's seduction strategy is actually the most brilliant thing she could possibly do. Martin Laurent is fundamentally driven by a massive inferiority complex regarding his brother Alan. He desperately wants to be seen as the smarter, better, more brilliant doctor. So when Diane starts praising Markham's unorthodox methods, telling him he is a genius, stroking his massive ego, she is playing right into Martin's deepest psychological needs. Plus, Martin is probably incredibly lonely after Tracy Abbott rightfully dumped him and exposed him. He is craving validation and affection. Diane is going to offer him both, and he is going to swallow the bait hook, line, and sinker. I can completely see the scenes playing out in my head right now. Diane, wearing something slightly revealing that she found in the closet, pouring him a drink, looking up at him through her eyelashes, telling him that Jack never truly understood her the way he does. It makes my skin crawl, but it is so Diane. She will literally sleep with the devil if it means she gets to walk out of that house alive. And honestly, I respect the hustle. I really do. I know some people are hating on Diane right now, calling her manipulative and evil, but you cannot deny that the woman knows how to play the game of survival. She isn't just crying in a corner waiting for a knight in shining armor to save her. She is actively manipulating her captor. But let's just pause and think about the absolute, catastrophic fallout that is going to happen when the truth comes out. Jack is currently at the Abbott mansion, preparing to sleep with Patty Williams to maintain his cover and find out where Diane is. He is sacrificing his body and his sanity for his wife. Meanwhile, Diane is in a hostage house, preparing to sleep with her psychotic doctor captor to save her own life. They are both going to cheat on each other to save each other. I am sorry, but the irony is just too delicious. It is Shakespearean tragedy mixed with daytime soap opera trash, and I cannot get enough of it. Can we just imagine the explosive confrontation when they finally reunite? Jack is going to be traumatized from having to touch Patty again after the yacht incident. Diane is going to be traumatized from seducing a madman. And instead of comforting each other, they are going to absolutely tear each other apart. Diane is going to scream at Jack for letting Patty back into his bed, completely ignoring the fact that she was doing the exact same thing with Markham. And Jack is going to be furious that Diane resorted to sleeping with the enemy instead of trusting him to find her. The hypocrisy is going to be off the charts, and I am going to be sitting on my couch eating popcorn and loving every single second of it. Remember when they tried a similar storyline years ago with other characters, where both partners made questionable moral choices to protect their family, and it just ended in a bitter divorce? Yeah, didn't work then either, and it's not going to work for Jack and Diane now. Their marriage is already hanging by a thread because of the whole Nikki Newman fiasco and Jack's relapse in the hotel room. This Patty and Markham situation is going to be the final nail in the coffin. I honestly do not see how Jack and Diane survive this as a couple. The trust is going to be completely obliterated. You cannot unsee your husband playing house with the woman who tortured him, and Jack won't be able to unsee Diane using her body to manipulate a psychopath. And let's talk about Kyle for a second. Poor Kyle is going to lose his mind when he finds out what his parents have been up to. He is already furious that Jack is kicking him and Tracy out of the house for potty when he learns that his mother seduced her captor and his father slept with his kidnapper. Kyle might just pack up Harrison and move to Milan with Summer permanently. I mean, who could blame him? The Abbott family dynamic is toxic on a level that hasn't been seen in years. Kyle has been trying so hard to keep his family together, and they are just torching it to the ground. I just keep going back to the sheer creepiness of Dr. Markham. Jerry Burns is playing this role to absolute perfection. He has that sinister, unnerving smile that just makes you want to take a shower after he is on screen. When he ate Diane's food and threatened to find other ways to nourish her, I literally yelled at my TV, "He is a predator." And Diane knows exactly what kind of man he is. She isn't seducing him because she likes him. She is seducing him because she recognizes a predator and knows that the only way to tame a predator is to make him think he has already won the hunt. It is a terrifying game of cat and mouse. It is a classic YA trope, really, the damsel in distress who isn't really a damsel at all. I have been watching this show since 2015, and this is honestly one of the best, most twisted hostage storylines they have done in a long time. It feels gritty. It feels dangerous. It doesn't feel like the usual corporate boardroom drama that we get so bogged down in. This is raw, psychological warfare. Diane is using her brain and her body as weapons, and Jack is doing the exact same thing across town. It is parallel storytelling at its finest, even if it makes me want to pull my hair out. I know a lot of fans in the Facebook groups are complaining that this storyline is ruining Jack's character, making him look weak for giving into Patty's demands, but I completely disagree. I think it shows exactly how far Jack will go for the woman he loves. He is willing to sacrifice his own trauma and his own dignity to save Diane. That isn't weakness, that is absolute, terrifying desperation. But the ultimate tragedy is that Diane will never see it that way. She will only see the betrayal. Because Diane's fatal flaw has always been her inability to see past her own victimhood. She will never forgive Jack for Patty, even if it was to save her life. So what is the end game here? I predict Diane is going to successfully seduce Markham, get him to drop his guard, and either steal his keys or find out exactly who is paying him. She is going to uncover the Patty connection on her own, without Jack's help, because she is just that smart. And when she escapes and storms back into the Abbott mansion, she is going to walk right in on Jack and Patty in bed together. IT is going to be epic. The screaming, the crying, the slap across the face, it is going to be classic daytime soap opera gold. I can already see the promo for that week. I am dreading the inevitable breakup of Jack and Diane, because I actually kinda like them together this time around, but I am entirely here for the drama it will cause. The writers are setting up a massive collision course, and all we can do is strap in and watch the wreckage unfold. What do you guys think? Am I crazy for thinking Markham is actually Martin Laurent? Do you think Diane will actually go through with sleeping with him, or will she just tease him until she can escape? Let me know, because I need to vent about this with people who actually get it.